friends, I have a pretty cool activity for you today. Since it has been getting cold outside and since we've seen a few snows recently, I thought it would be kind of fun to make our own snow crystals on a snowflake. So to do this, you are going to need a piece of paper. And what shape do I have my piece of paper cut into? It is a square with 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. This is what I'm going to make my snowflake out of. So I'm going to fold it in half to make a triangle with 1, 2, 3 sides. And then I'm going to fold it in half again to make a smaller triangle. And you can keep doing this as many times as you like to just make it a smaller and smaller triangle. So I'm going to fold it one more time. And then I'm going to start cutting it. Now, cutting it is what's going to give it the decoration on your snowflake, the intricacies. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to start cutting around the edges and maybe some of the tips. And when you open it up, it's going to have a beautiful design. So I'm going to cut off the tip of my snowflake. See how I cut the tip off? I'm going to cut some shapes along here. Maybe a triangle. I'm going to do the same thing on all the other edges too. I'm going to just cut out some different shapes. Do just a bunch of triangles on this side. All right. So see how I just kind of cut it up a little bit? So then when I open it, I'm going to have a beautiful design. And it makes it symmetrical. And it looks like a snowflake. Now that is beautiful, just like that. But I'm going to take it a step further and kind of make it into a science experiment. We are going to grow some crystals on this to make it sparkly and to make it look a little bit more like snow. We are going to do this using salt. So I'm going to take a glass of water. You don't need a lot, you just need enough to get your paper wet. So it needs to be warm. And you're going to dissolve some salt in the water. So I have about maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons of water in here, not a lot. And I'm going to add so much salt that it ends up not completely dissolving in the water. When it gets to the point that it's not dissolving anymore, then that's when you've got enough salt. So I've got my teaspoon here, and I'm going to start by adding 1 teaspoon to my water and seeing how that is. So here's my 1 teaspoon. I'm going to dump it in there and see if all that'll dissolve. See how it starts making the water kind of frothy? It's not clear anymore. Now when I scoop, there's just an ever so tiny bit of salt down at the bottom that didn't get dissolved. So that's exactly how I want it to be. You don't want a lot of salt down at the bottom because then you're going to get big old clumps. But if there's just a tiny bit that doesn't dissolve, that's okay. So once you have your super salt water solution mixed up, you're just going to dump it on your snowflake. I've got my snowflake sitting in a dish just to kind of help keep the water from going everywhere. So now I'm going to go ahead and dump it. And I like to actually do it spoon by spoon to kind of just spread it out all over the snowflake. But if you want to just dump it right on from the cup, you can do that too. You need just enough to get it wet, so maybe you'll have extra water and you can do more than one. The more water you dump, the longer it's going to take for the crystals to form, because what you're going to do next is let it sit. it needs to sit until all the water evaporates. When I did it, that only took my snowflake about overnight because I didn't add all of my water. So overnight it sat and the water evaporated overnight, and it left me with some beautiful crystals, which I will show you in just a minute. So once your snowflake is nice and wet, see how wet mine is? It's dripping. I'm just going to let it sit. You can let it sit on a cookie tray. You can let it sit in your dish, wherever you want to keep it. You're going to let it sit at least overnight and watch what happens. So like I said, I made one in advance so that I can show you the results. It sat overnight, and this is what happened when it was done. I have all these beautiful salt crystals on my snowflake. See those? It's a little hard to tell over the camera, but when the light hits it just right, it sparkles just like a snowflake. You can feel it, and it feels all bumpy. It's very cool. I hope you have fun with this little experiment, and I can't wait to see how your snowflakes turn out. Thank you for watching, friends. See you later. Bye.